What's up, YouTube? How you doing, guys? I got some cool stuff to show you guys, and then an install. This is going to be my Thrashin transformation for the bagger. So, pretty much went all out on these. We are waiting on one little part. It's the shifter peg. It's going to be for the brake lever, for the Roland Sands brake lever that you saw in the previous video. I did happen to figure that out. I needed to reuse the factory O-ring that was on the outside underneath the washer and the nut for that stock bracket. So we are good to go there. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go through all these parts one by one, show you guys what we got. So we'll start with the shifter peg and the shift linkage side with the Easy Shifter. Pretty much got everything they offer for this except for the brake lever. Went with the Roland Sands brake lever like you saw in the previous video because from what I can tell, the Thrashin lever doesn't work on the early baggers. It only works on 14 and up. So I've actually got a email sent over to them to see because I've seen them work on some early baggers, on some stunt guy baggers. So I'm curious to see if they do work. I would imagine they would, because I think these things are pretty much the same every year. So we'll revisit that later. But for now, let's go over these parts, show you these things one by one and step by step, and quality, of the anodizing and the materials, and pretty much just go through them. So let's get right into it. So this is our shift lever. See the parts here. Went with black everything. Nice Thrashin logo. Does come with hardware. Assuming it's not ARP because of this opening here not being wide enough. Maybe a custom ARP would have been needed, but this will do for now. Looks pretty good. So that is the 1 inch shorter shift lever, so I don't have to reach. I'm trying to shift. Anodizing looks good. Machining always looks nice. All right. And then we do have the shifter tip. I went with their classic one that they made before the Speedline version. I like this one over the other one personally. More of a classic look. So this one does come with ARP. Got the Thrashin Supply Co. engraved into it. Anodizing on this one is near flawless. I really like the anodizing on this one. Looks good. Next up, we went with the shift linkage. This comes with ARP as well. It's got the nut and the bolt on the front side, and it's just got the bolt for the back side. Goes into your factory linkage in the back. This one looks nice. What's cool about these, I've never seen any other company do this. I'll give Thrashin a lot of credit for this. They have opposing hem joints, so you can actually adjust your shift lever on the bike with the linkage already installed. You don't have to remove it. So you can adjust these, tighten them down, leave it on the bike without removing it. I think that's a really cool idea. Very smart of them. Kind of ahead of the curve. To go along with that, give you guys the part number on this one. Obviously, this only works with forward control or footboards, not mids. So this is their Easy Shifter, the Easy Shift inner arm. Really excited about using this one. Gonna make those shifts nice and easy. Very nice anodizing on this one. Hardware supplied. So the later baggers, they bolt through the front here and the linkage connects to the back, but on these early ones, they connect on the front side. So Thrashin supplies this washer here that you will put on the front side to space it out. Otherwise, the ARP bolt that goes through this thing would rest inside here. But since we're going to hook it on the outside, they want you to get that little space taken care of here so the hem joint can operate correctly, I'm assuming. Okay, moving on. This is the good part. The Apex floorboards. This is something I really wanted for this bike. The factory ones are terrible. The way they feel gushy. You don't really get great control. So with a solid footboard, some good knurling, you're gonna get great control out of your bike. I'll show you both of them. Got that made in the USA. Thrashin logo at the other end. They do come with a spot and a little Delrin plastic scrape plate here. Kind of a cool feature built into the product. This knurling feels great. Can't wait to get these on the bike, get some extra grip. This is your right side. Here's the scrape plates with hardware. It's all stainless. These will be cool. Not sure I'll ever scrape these too bad, because I got something else to show you that's going to kind of make these a little bit better even. But here's the left side. Made in the USA like we like to see. Nice knurling, quality anodize. So these come with the mounts as well. Front and back, it's gonna go bolt in here. You're gonna reuse your factory nut or your factory bolt. It's just a shoulder bolt, but they eliminate the use of the nut because you got this threaded, if you can see that. So your shoulder bolt just threads right into here. Some blue Loctite, keep it in there nice and tight. I actually got some new ones. These are cheap, about $8 for all 4 of these. There's your part number if you guys want to get some. I figured it was useful to put some fresh ones in some fresh floorboards. Hardware is pretty cheap. Okay. So the cool part about these is Thrashin makes a floorboard riser. We'll get into that now. Now what the floorboard riser does, this is our part number. There's 2 versions of the floorboard riser. One is just strictly a riser itself. And then this kit that I got is the 1/2-inch lift with the tail extension. So I went with the tail extension because I wanted a little bit more of a floorboard on the back side. This gives you just a little bit more so you can ride with your feet farther back. And then it builds in the extension here. You just bolt these through. They supply longer screws with it. These are for the front, and then this is your back. So these are your lift here and your extension. The front one has a slotted section to kind of lock it in. I'll show you guys these real quick. What I like about these too is there's actually a 5-degree up angle. Keep your foot kind of locked onto that knurling. Really cool feature. So this is going to go on the back side. Get some on the bottom right here. So you'll bolt it through the extension. There's where you get your lift. And you get that extra little heel section. You can see that little up angle. Very excited to check these out. Actually get some riding in. See how that's gonna feel. Kind of hold my foot in there, more of a mid-control setup. Without having to change much. You can still put your foot forward on the board and get a good stretch. And you can still ride with your feet back all the way. So these are your front lift kit spacers. This is going to be my left side. All right, I'm gonna grab some Loctite. Get the bolts out. We will assemble the footboards and get them ready to install. Need to find an Allen wrench for those scrape plates, but you just need a 3/16. Got a 3/16 on a nut driver. 3/16 driver. We'll grab some Loctite. Show you how these go together. Pull one of these spacers out so we can get the Allen wrench for that. It's pretty small. So I'm not going to Loctite these on. It's Delron, so you just kind of crank them down onto the plastic. You want to get these stuck on there if you have to ever replace them. So they just sit on there like that. Get these all started. And we'll just crank them down. All right, we'll start with the front. Like I was saying before, this has a little groove here. This slides in, and then your mount will go just on top of it. Let's stick a couple in here just to hold it. I'll make sure you flip this right. It's got a sunken in spot here so these can sit inside and not be protruding. Four of these ready. Just want to get these started. He didn't specify any kind of torque on these, so I'm assuming you just crank them down good. There you have it. Front one's on. Nice good lift. All right, we'll do these back ones. Get these ready to go. So they supply new hardware because obviously with the extension, so same situation with this one. Your board extension is going to go here. Your mount's going to go here. Get these all started by hand. Crank this down. There you have it. Got your right floorboard assembled. Got your lift spacers in. The mounts ready to go. Once you get all this together, it's got a nice hefty weight to it. Should be a pretty solid floorboard. Looks good. Got that nice 5-degree angle. So I'll save you the trouble on watching the other side get assembled. This is gonna be part one. Just the unboxing and the assembly of the floorboards. We'll have part two of the install and actually installing these onto the bike, along with the easy shifter, the shift linkage, and the actual shift leg. If you guys want to see that next video, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys soon. Okay, welcome back. This is part two of the Thrashin transformation, guys. I'm gonna be installing all these parts. Pretty basic tools for this. Couple ratchets, 3/8 drive. Got a 7/16 and a 1/2 inch, and I got a 1/4 inch ball Allen, and a couple of 1/4 inch Allens on some sockets, and a 3/16. So we're gonna start off with the shift linkage and the easy shifter. And we'll move on to the actual shift leg and the floorboard on this side. So let's get into it. So for the linkage, just gonna need a 7/16 and a 1/2 inch open end. So you'll end up just pulling off the back one, then the front one, and then we'll pull off the actual linkage for the easy shifter, the shifter arm. So that side's free. Then you're gonna need the 7/16 to hold the front side here, and the 1/2 inch on the back. Won't be needing any of this hardware because Thrashin supplies us with the hardware for this. Say goodbye to a failure point on your bike right here. We'll take off the shifter arm next. So at this point here, I had realized that the easy shifter will not work for anything previous to 14. I had some suspicions from conflicting information online, so I went ahead and bought one anyway to check it out, to see what we could do, if it did work, if we could make it work. And at this point, we figured out it will not work, so we had to scrap that idea and skipped over it. So from here, I had to pull the shift shaft out of the bike. It was pretty seized up in here, so I decided to pull it out, clean it up, and get it lubed up so it could move freely inside the shaft. Be good to go. Get some WD on this, pull this out, and get this back in with some grease on it, clean it up nice. Yeah, this boy is stuck in there good. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean this up. Shift shaft has seen better days. we'll get it cleaned up and we'll get some grease on it and put it back in there. All right, I ran this thing pretty good with a wire brush and then some 2000 grit sandpaper just to get it smooth and polished again. We'll clean the little shaft tube here just to make sure that's all nice and clean too. Just shoot some brake clean down the hole here. That thing looks pretty gnarly in there, so slide this back in and see if it goes in smooth this time. It's much nicer. That's how it should be, nice and smooth shifts. All right, so just gonna hit it with my waterproof grease. Get the knurls here a little bit on this back side of this. Okay, that is spinning nice and free. I like that. We're gonna use our stock inner arm. So we're gonna have our shaft good to go still, greased up, ready to go. And we're just gonna reuse our regular arm and we'll put the linkage to the regular arm, and maybe thrashing one day we'll make a easy shift arm for the early baggers, who knows. But that sucks, but we're gonna move on. So moving on, we're gonna put the original inner arm back on. This one. And we will get the new shift linkage and put that on. And then we can put our shifter arm on. So pushing forward. It hit right about here on the case and was rubbing on the back side. So that's definitely not gonna do it for us. Okay, so starting over now. From here, gonna put our shift linkage in. All right, so Thresh & Supply is hardware for these, front and back. Nut and bolt on the front, just a bolt on the back. It's a 3/8 12-point ARP. So we're just gonna thread the back one in first. Just get this one kind of hand tight where we want it. So it can hold itself there. Put this one just through here. Get the nut on the back. I'm gonna grab some Loctite for this back one to go into the factory point. And to tighten this down, gotta pull this linkage forward a little bit. Probably gonna have to put the arm on it, so I'm gonna grab the stock arm to do that. We'll stick the stock arm here so we can pull this forward like this. Get some clearance, maybe. Doesn't look like we're gonna get much. All right, I might have to get a 12-point open end. Don't even know if I have one of those. Here we go. This will get us in there. The 3/8 12-point ARP. We're just gonna crank this down. I got Loctite on it now, so shouldn't go anywhere. Okay. Now that that's all snug in there, we'll bolt this one down. So this is a 1/2-inch nut on the back side, and then the 3/8 on the front side. Crank that one down nice. Now this is the cool feature about the thrashing arm, is you can just spin it either way to adjust. So let's get the shifter arm, or the shifter leg, on there and the peg, and then we'll adjust this kind of to where we want it. We'll set it after we get the floorboards back on. So here we got our 1-inch shorter leg. We've got our shifter peg. Just gonna hand thread this in for now. Stick some Loctite on it. Get it hand tight. All right, so we're gonna get this shifter leg on finally here. So I wanna set it kind of at a position where I know it's gonna be comfortable to get my boot under there, and then I'll be able to move it down from here. So probably one more up here. We'll see how much adjustability we can get out of this thing. All right, so that's pretty high. So let's see how much adjustability we can get out of pushing this thing down. This is the cool thing about these thrashing legs, or the shift linkages. That's probably not gonna do it. So see, we're gonna run out of threads here. So we'll back this back up. Pull this off. Move it down one. Back these lock nuts off. Okay. All right, so let's sit on the bike and see where we're at here. That looks pretty good there. So let's fine tune it a little bit more. Maybe one more turn. Back it up a half a turn. That feels good right there. You can see I can slide my foot underneath. We're gonna leave this loose and put the floorboard on, because the floorboard, it will be a little bit lower, I feel like. So we're gonna swap the floorboard and see what we got with the clearance from there. So to get the floorboard, it's the 7/16 and the 3/16. So let's remove that. Front side here. Pop these shoulder bolts out. Floorboard goes goodbye. Now I might have to adjust the original mounts. Sometimes these are not perfectly centered, so if we have to, we'll move those. Let's get the new floorboard and do a test fit. So I did get new hardware like I showed in the previous video. or the first part of this video, I should say. Let's pull these out. Kind of test fit this and see what it looks like. So it looks like the front one needs to get knocked back a little. So I'm just gonna get my dead blow hammer and see if I can give that a little persuasion. Doesn't look like it moved at all. Oh, it actually did though. All right, cool. So you want these to be able to thread in by hand and nice and smooth. If they're not smooth, then the angle of the actual footboard mount is not straight. So now that we got this kind of in there, let's tighten down our shifter. Okay, so we're good there. Still got to lock out our shift linkage, so let's just check this clearance here again for our floorboard. Once we get that where we want it, we can actually tighten down the floorboard from there. So this floorboard's actually a tad higher, so I'm a little tight here. So we will spin this up, one turn at a time, one full turn, okay? Go another one. Looks like maybe half a turn more. Check it here. It might actually be good one more half a turn. That should be good right there. All right, so let's Loctite this floorboard. The hardware for the floorboard, Loctite that stuff off. Crank these down. That's gonna do it. Don't want to go too tight on these. Be careful not to strip these. You strip these, pretty much ruin the mount. Those are nice and tight. Floorboard's got a lot of freedom to move. All right, so now we're gonna crank down our shift linkage where we have it sitting. It's just a 1/2 inch. Make sure you have free play both ways. After you get them kind of snug, and you're gonna crank these down pretty good. And that's that there. So the other side, we just got the floorboard. We'll go over there, we'll swap that floorboard out real quick. We'll give you guys a good look at these and we'll be done. All right, so I'm gonna pull this floorboard off. If you watched the previous video, my brake lever, I replaced my brake lever with a Roland Sands brake lever. I did find out that Thrashin brake levers will work with the correct bushing kit that they sell for the earlier baggers. This is actually verified through them, through email. They do recommend not using the shorter lever, their 2-inch shorter brake lever, but I think we might actually try one of those later on. I'm waiting for the P54 shifter peg that will mount here, so it'll match with the floorboards, the knurling. We'll get rid of this short one here. But yeah, let's swap out this floorboard and be done. Just gonna stick the old hardware, stock hardware back on these floorboards just to save it. Got fresh hardware. I already test fit these previously, so I made sure that these were centered and good to go. I got that one hand threaded started on the front. Tighten these down. Cool. All right, so we are good to go there. Yeah, it'd be nice to have the 2-inch shorter, and have it down around here-ish, or actually adjust it up to here-ish. But we'll get this P54 and we'll see how that reach works here. Other than that, some nice upgrades. Looks good from up here. Got the thrashing transformation complete. Looks good. Thrashing, if you guys see this video, please make a early bagger easy shift lever, the inner arm. That would be awesome. Anyways, thanks for tuning in on this one, you guys. Please like and subscribe. See you soon.